When I was driving to work this morning, I was listening to another radio station, as we broadcasters sometimes do. What I heard shocked and saddened me.
The Entertainment Roundtable.
They're here, nerds.
Wait, is this the group that goes around mutilating squirrels?
You just mind your P's and Q's, Buster, and remember who you're dealing with.
Well, at least we found them. Fortuitous, Captain. And now that we have them all together,
you can't make an omelet without breaking some eggs.
The Entertainment Roundtable.
They make one person go, blah, 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 and the other person go, what are you talking about? And then one person goes, blah, 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 blah.
Welcome into it, and welcome into the weekend. I'm Steve West as we kick off weekend of programming here at Superstation 101 WYDE. We've got all kinds of stuff coming up a little bit later, but right now you are into the Entertainment Roundtable, and we're kind of doing skeleton staff this week, as it turns out, because don't know where David is, haven't heard from him. Josh not able to come in because he and the Irwin brothers continue to do preparatory work here as we are a little bit more than a month away from the release of their comedy called Mom's Night Out, which will go into wide release all across the country on Mother's Day, very appropriately. So at this point in time, unless David happens to show up late, it's going to be the three of us. Ryan is on the phone. Good morning to you, Ryan.
Good morning, Steve. Captain America West. Yeah. I am back. It's good to be back. How is everyone?
Oh, doing just fine. We'll talk about where you were here in just a moment. The other part of this is the man who's running the board, and that would be Jeff. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great, Steve. Thank you for asking.
You may end up having to take the role of David. If you know of anything about some of the stories that David had submitted for this weekend's roundup, if you have any insight, by all means, please.
Absolutely, you got
throw it in there. All right, let's go ahead and start off with this, because the reason why Ryan was not with us last week is he was at the Comic-Con in Lexington, Kentucky?
Yes, I was.
Okay. Unfortunately, I was not able to transfer it into the system in time. Time just got away from me, but you had a very cool experience meeting somebody who I really would like to talk to, and that is a gentleman who has appeared on the show 24.
Yes, I did. That would be the actor of Glenn Morshower. He played the role of Agent Aaron Pierce on 24 for several years over the course of its run, and he did a very good job on that series. I met with him. I talked with him. He was great human being, great guy. Took a few pictures with him. And if you have the opportunity, please feel free to look at him on my Facebook page.
Yeah, got the chance to take a picture with him, and he was kind of a cool enough guy to where you dialed my number, handed the phone to him. I've still got the voicemail message on my phone. In fact, I'm going to try and see if I can't pull it up here. And then later on in the afternoon, you went back to the booth. He was there again, and you had the chance to talk with him, and he was more than willing to get on the phone again and talk to me then. Just a real easygoing kind of guy?
Yes, he is. He was very nice, very respectful, kind of laid back, has a great sense of humor about things, and it was fantastic to speak with him and talk to some of the other fans who were, standing around his table. And when I got there for the second time later on that day, the con was still going on, but it was getting towards the latter part of the day. Things were about to wrap up, but he and some of the other celebrity guests were still there, and he took the time out to speak with you, which I thought was just fantastic, because, he played a good role, a very serious role in a number of dramas and film projects. But when you talk to him, just as a person, he's really cool.
Yeah, okay, I'm going to try this here. So, Jeff, you may have to ride some levels here, but let's try and see if maybe this will pick up.
Steve West, you picked a really lousy time to not answer your phone. It's not Ryan Permison. Call display indicated that, but actually it's Aaron Pierce from the television show 24. I'm calling you wondering why, I repeat, why, you are not at the Lexington Comic-Con here in Lexington, Kentucky, because I am, and Ryan is, and anybody who is somebody is here. But you're not. So what does that say about you? I'm not really sure. But we're missing you and wish you were here. And I wish you a beautiful Saturday. I look forward to meeting you at some point in the near future. And above all, thank you for watching our show, my brother. God bless you. Be well.
And later on, when we got to talking with him, he said that they've got about 7 episodes of the new season of 24 in the can. So far, he has yet to be a part of it, but he is hoping that he will get the call and be able to go to London very, very soon. So thank you very much for that. What else did you find out up at Comic-Con?
There were some great cosplayers. The celebrity guests I met were mostly people I grew up watching as a kid, such as Power Ranger actors, from all the different seasons across the board, as well as voiceover actors Roger Jackson, who was the voice of Ghostface in the Scream franchise, Jim Cummings, who was the voice of Darkwing Duck, Pete in the Goof Troop, and a host of many, many other fictional and wonderful characters he has voiced over the course of several years, and other actors as well. I even got a picture with the Back to the Future DeLorean, which I thought was a great opportunity, a great shot, great time. So all in all, I mean, by far, I got to say, this is the best weekend of my entire life thus far. I mean, unless I go to some other big Comic-Cons out in the state of California or in Florida, it was the best weekend ever, guys.
San Diego still considered to be the biggest one?
Yes, it is, and it is still on my bucket list. Yes, it is.
Yeah, that's the big one when all the studios roll out their big guns for the upcoming year.
That one would be the one I think I would really want to go to, and I understand the tickets are kind of hard to get.
Mm-hmm. Extremely hard, actually, yeah.
Got to be like 4 years in advance or something like that. Well, anyway, plenty to talk about this weekend here, and we start off with reminding you that we can be found on Facebook at facebook.com/whatever with Steve West, or on Twitter at 101 Roundtable. And just for those of you that are curious, still a couple of weeks away from Captain America the Winter Soldier, second one coming out. But on that Facebook page, you can find a link that will get you to a video of the first 10 minutes of Captain America Winter Soldier as a nice tease. So if you are just jonesing that much and can't wait, you can get 10 minutes of it online. So we have it through our Facebook page. A couple of reviews. You've got, 3 TV shows to review, but you've also got a movie review coming up here, Ryan, right?
Yes, I do.
All right, starting off with the top 10 as we usually do. Monuments Men hanging on there by its fingertips. $2 million, 73.9. Frozen looks like it's probably going to break the $400 million mark. 2.1 million, 396.4. But it's probably, I want to say this weekend is a possibility. A lot of it depends on this film right here, number 8. A film you're interested in, Jeff. The Grand Budapest Hotel makes an appearance in the top 10. $3.6 million as it continues to get into wider and wider release. It's been out for a couple of weeks in limited release, $4.8 million overall for it so far. Son of God, another $5.5 million, $51 million even there. Lego movie. My wife and I, Thursday night, had the opportunity to go and check out an early preview of God's Not Dead. We'll come back to that in a minute. And the theater right next to it had Lego movie, and she's like, I still have yet to see that. I'm like, okay, we can go, because I would be willing to go see it again.
Right, everything's still awesome.
Absolutely. $236.9 million worth of awesome, which is why they're willing to do a second one. Into the top 5, that brings us to Tyler Perry's Single Moms Club, debuted to $8.1 million. Kind of what we were talking about last week with Josh. Tyler Perry films have a kind of a built-in audience. We kind of figured it was going to do something like that, and it has. This movie will probably make 30 to 40, maybe up to $50 million, or heck, you never know. This might be one of his better films, and it might take off and, I don't know, get into triple digits. It's possible. Then you get into the top 4, nonstop, $10.6 million. Not bad for its third week out there. Still in double digits there, $68.8 million. Debut for the movie Need for Speed, $17.8 million, which is not a bad number, but this is a movie that's been touted and hyped up for a little while here, Ryan. 17.8 to me sounds like maybe the studio might be a little disappointed in that total. Am I right or wrong?
No, I think in some cases you're right. The analysts were projecting about 22, 23 million easy for Need for Speed, with all the build-up through social media, all the build-up through television, of course, with the name itself from the popular video game franchise. So this is kind of a disappointing opener.
Okay. Obviously, this is going to be compared mostly to the series that you're a big fan of, the Fast and Furious franchise. When you take a look at Need for Speed, how does it compare, and how do you rate it?
Well, as far as Need for Speed is concerned, I went into this film, a lot of expectations. Most of them were met, not all of them, but most. I thought it was a very well action-ridden film. Oh, my gosh, the exotic cars you see in this film are unlike any we've seen before. Granted, most of them are coming in from the video game, so it's nice to see all those kind of races as well as the cars themselves come to life. Aaron Paul, great actor, great guy. He carries the film very well. Dominic Cooper from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, he's thrown into the mix as a bad guy, and he does a good job playing that particular role. Michael Keaton, second time we've seen you this year, my friend. Bravo, he does a good job bringing in humor, a little bit of stylish flair and pizzazz to it. Granted, the differences between these two franchises is that Need for Speed builds on the characters more so than Fast and Furious. Fast and Furious is kind of one note, all about the heist, all about getting the money, all about the cars. But this one is not just about the cars. It's about revenge, redemption, all that kind of stuff. So at the end of the day, I give Need for Speed an 8 out of 10. I thought the pacing dragged in a few spots, and I would have liked a certain car. I'm not going to mention who you are, a great-looking car. But I would have liked for that car to make it to the end of the race, but unfortunately it didn't, so I was a little disappointed in that regard.
Okay, so 8 out of 10. So you were pretty pleased with it overall.
Yeah, I'm going to add it to my Blu-ray collection, absolutely. I hope this franchise continues to grow and they get a sequel, but right now it's not looking so hot.
Yeah. Do you know right offhand about how much it cost to make this?
I believe the budget was over $66 million.
So they're going to have to really clamor to make up that kind of money.
Yes, they are, as well as overseas in the foreign markets.
Yeah. Well, and we've seen this before where overseas kind of drives everything here. So it's possible that overseas might actually be enough of a market where it might prompt the studio to do a second one. I'll be interested. I have not seen it yet. I'm kind of interested to see it for the cars. I got to admit, I didn't have a whole lot of high hopes for it, but I don't know. Maybe you kind of bolstered me. I might actually go check it out. Up to number 2, 300, Rise of an Empire, another $19.2 million, 78.4 for those who saw it last weekend, actually thought quite well of it. And then you get to the number 1 film last week, and we were kind of sitting here wondering. I didn't think Need for Speed was going to make it to number 1. Certainly enough, it didn't. And we got to thinking about it. It's like, what's going to make number 1? And I kept looking at this film, and sure enough, there it sits, number 1, Mr. Peabody and Sherman, $21.8 million, 63.8 overall. 300 Rise of an Empire dropped off significantly more than the animated film, so the families came out in force last weekend, apparently, Jeff.
Oh, looks like they did.
Yeah.
I know. I was one of the ones who gave 300 some of the money it made.
Yeah.
Actually, no, I saw it, Monday? So it was post-weekend, but I've added to the total.
Right. Okay. Well, got to admit, not really all that big on Mr. Peabody and Sherman. Might go see Need for Speed. Then you got the movies that are coming out this weekend here, and when it comes to this weekend, there's 2 films on a wide scale that are coming out. One is Divergent. This is off of the book series of the same name, kind of the young adult book series. This one starring Shailene Woodley. You got Ashley Judd in there, Theo James, if you remember a CBS show called Golden Boy, which lasted about 10, maybe 12 episodes last year on CBS. That's the guy. This is a film about somewhat of a dystopian future. All the people are divided into separate factions based upon your most prevalent virtue. The group of people who don't test with one virtue standing out, what happens to them? Again, based upon the book of the same name, they're hoping that it's going to be popular enough to begin a series. To me, and I understand families could be involved, but I think family dollars will be split between Mr. Peabody and Sherman and the next film that we're going to talk about. To me, this is the film that's going to be number 1 on the weekend. Agree or disagree? First, Jeff.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think this was going to win the weekend. If it doesn't, I'll be surprised.
Okay.
Then again, let's be honest, it could go either way. Was this series popular enough? Is it is it going to be the next Hunger Games like they're banking on it to be?
Yeah, because that's what they're touting this. They're touting this to be the next Hunger Games. And the odd thing is I actually saw I think it was an article that compared this girl, Shailene Woodley's character, whose name I can't remember in the actual book or the movie. I've seen it a couple of times in print, and Katniss Everdeen, and they gave a slight edge to Katniss on her ability to do this. But, that's the big obvious thing. I don't necessarily know as the two are all that really comparable, other than the fact that they're both a series of books aimed at young adults. I don't know as there is a comparison otherwise between these two series. Ryan, you know what the other major film coming out this weekend is. Which one's going to be number 1, Divergent or the other one?
As much as I want to say one will take the lead over the other, I think it's too close to call, but if I wanted to pick a winner and make it win, I go with Muppets.
That's the other one, Muppets Most Wanted. The Muppets, along with Tina Fey, Ricky Gervais, and I'm sure many, many others making cameo appearances, this time showing the lovable mops going on a worldwide tour, only they end up getting involved in an international crime mystery with the world's number 1 criminal who happens to look a whole heck of a lot like a certain green frog that we're very familiar with. I think this will get major family dollars. The only reason I say Divergent probably will become number 1 is because I'm looking at this week's number 1 and this week's number 6 and this week's number 9, and I'm thinking, wow, that's a whole lot of family dollars to split with Frozen still there, Lego Movie out there, Mr. Peabody and Sherman. That's the one thing that I think might trip up Muppets and keeping it from being number 1. That said, I would say it's probably going to be a very close number 2. But that's my own opinion. Out in limited release. If you're interested in trying to look for them, you could find maybe 50 to 1. There's a movie called Blood Ties that stars Clive Owen, Billy Crudup, and actually several more. A film called Cheap Thrills, a film called Mechanic, and no, it's not spelled like your auto mechanic. It's spelled Mccanick. It stars David Morse, who I actually think is a very good actor. I remember him very well. Films like The Green Mile, played second to Tom Hanks on the Mile. He plays a narcotics detective by the name of Mechanic, and also you got a movie called Rob the Mob.
Huh.
Sounds weird, doesn't it? Out next week. What is out next week?
Oh, I know one thing.
Tell me.
Oh, Noah.
Thank you.
Which I'm looking forward to.
By the way, did we ever find out, this goes back to Friday's show when I was filling in for Michael Hart, did we ever find out the movie God's Not Dead, is that officially out this weekend, or is it officially out in wide release next week?
It is playing at the Patton Creek and the Summit. I noticed multiple show times starting today, so I assume wide release as of today.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, Friday.
Okay, and you can and you can go out, by the way, and feel free to visit our friends down at Amstar in Alabaster, and they will also be showing it as well. Real quick, since we got, a little bit of time here left in this segment?
We do have a little bit of time.
A little bit of time, okay. This is a film. It's a faith-based film. It stars, good grief.
Russell Crowe.
No, that's Noah. This is God's Not Dead.
Oh.
Yeah, exactly. We'll get to that next week. Don't worry about it.
Hercules.
Yeah, it stars Hercules, Kevin Sorbo. It stars Superman, Dean Cain. My wife made the notation at the end of the movie, and I'm not giving anything away, by the way, here. This is a faith-based film. Some people find faith, some people don't. She turns to me at the end of the movie, and she goes, both Hercules and Superman played bad guys.
Oh.
But anyway, a very good film as far as the message is concerned. Kevin Sorbo did a great job. The lead character, whose name right now escapes me, but I've seen him in at least one other faith-based film, he actually did a very good job in it. Dean Cain plays kind of a meanie very, very well. But otherwise, you look at some of the other actors, and it was very uneven. A lot of people very uncomfortable on camera, so you can kind of tell where most of the budget went. It went to the Sorbo-Cain side of things on the acting side. So some of the actors, a little bit dry, a little bit wooden, not all that great. And I don't know what it was, but for some reason, the sound editing in the film just really stuck out to me with pops, and all of a sudden you would have some background and it would just go away. So the sound editing was uneven. So overall, as far as presentation and everything, I give it about a 7.5. The message is a 10. It's fantastic. Overall, about a 7.5, but it's certainly worth going to see if you want to go and support faith-based films. They're certainly worth it. All right, we got to get to some movie news here, and we're going to kind of play around because David is missing. He was supposed to be a humongous portion of the show here, but since he's missing, we'll muddle through, get to as much movie news as we can.
Oh, we'll do it.
Oh, yeah, we'll figure it out. Ryan's got a whole lot of stuff, too, and actually I've heard quite a bit from our good friend and a listener to the show, Daniel, who sends me a good number of things. We've got some contributions from him as well. We've got a lot of TV and a lot of movie stuff that we're all going to talk about when we come back on the Entertainment Roundtable.
We now return you to your regularly scheduled programming, the Entertainment Roundtable on Superstation 101.
Hey, welcome back in, listening to the Entertainment Roundtable here at Superstation 101 WIDE. Didn't really find much out of either Muppets Most Wanted or Divergent, so I went back to the Need for Speed soundtrack, and that was the Aerosmith version of Back in the Saddle Again, not the one that they play in the movie. I think that version was performed by Aloe Black, if I remember correctly, but it seemed appropriate enough. Welcome back in, and first up, Ryan, we go to you. And we're going to we just got done talking about it because Muppets Most Wanted, a family film. You got Mr. Peabody and Sherman at number 1. You got Lego Movie at number 6. You got Frozen at number 9. All family films. And there's actually a good bit of news about some family films here, and most specifically in the choice of going back to Charles Schultz and the Peanuts gang. Apparently, they're going to make a movie.
Yes, they are. 20th Century Fox released a little bit of a teaser trailer for their film simply known as Peanuts right now. That title may change later on, we're not sure, but it's going to hit theaters everywhere. On November the 6th of 2015, it's going to feature all your favorite characters such as Charlie Brown, Snoopy, and Lucy, Sally, just pretty much any Peanuts character you may remember from the TV specials, they are going to be appearing in this film.
The difference being, of course, this is not true animation. They're actually putting these characters in CGI?
Yes, this is CG as well as 3D animation put together.
Yeah, I've seen the little teaser they did for it. And it actually looks,
What'd you think?
It looks pretty good, I think.
Yeah, I think they did. They did a really nice job with showing up with kind of the crown of Charlie's head, which you think, what are we doing, sunrise or something? And as you keep backing out, all of a sudden here's Charlie Brown's face and Snoopy and everything, and it's kind of what you would expect. Yeah, a microcosm of a Peanuts film, kind of warm-hearted and fun.
Right, and it actually, they haven't really messed with the design at all. It looks like Charles Schultz designs. You could tell it's the Peanuts.
Yeah, it's iconically Charlie Brown and Snoopy.
Yeah. So you don't have to worry about that if you're a Peanuts purist, which some people are.
Yeah. Well, I think some people might be a little put off by the CGI, and that's why I wanted to address that, because don't let this, obviously we want to wait and see what else is coming. Again, when's it supposed to come out?
It's going to hit theaters everywhere on November the 6th of 2015.
Okay, so we got a year and a half, but probably sometime around, give or take, this time next year, we'll probably get like the first teaser trailer or something like that, which will give us a little bit better idea. So, keep an open mind about it if you're a big Peanuts fan. Speaking of animated films, Pixar, according to our listener Daniel, emailing me, telling me that one of their deals that they got coming up here, apparently Pixar's all into the sequels nowadays. They're working up a Cars 3. Which I liked the first Cars. I thought Cars 2 kind of, sucked, quite frankly.
I didn't think it was terrible. Kids love it, apparently. Every kid I've seen that has watched it has just adored it. So
yeah. I'm just wondering at some point in time when Pixar gets to the point where they end their streak. They've had a streak where every single film that they have released has gone over the $100 million mark. If I'm going to choose one that doesn't... Again, this is really, really early. I don't even know as they've planned a release date on this just yet. And if they have, by all means, jump in and correct me, gentlemen. But unless things change radically from number 2, Cars 3 might be the one that doesn't quite crack $100 million.
We'll see, but I think that it's going to have to be a genuinely terrible movie for that to happen to a Pixar film.
You're probably right. Speaking of Pixar, as we also move into our superhero portion of the film, this is where David should have actually been here. Pixar, again, concentrating on sequels, probably shouldn't come as a surprise, although I find it a little interesting that they've waited so long to get back to this series. But we're going to get an Incredibles Part 2.
I know, I saw that. Brad Bird actually working on cracking the story right now. So, yay, Brad Bird back.
And he's back, yeah, which brought, he was the guy that gave us the storyline in the first place, wasn't he?
Exactly, yes.
So, yeah, I'm all about that. I love the original Incredibles. I thought that was fantastic, so I'm looking forward to a round 2. Let's see here. Either one of those do anything for you, Ryan?
Well, I've seen The Incredibles. I did see the first film. Thought it was okay. Wasn't that good. I've seen better animated films in my time. And number 2 is, I haven't seen Cars 2, nor do I really care, because when it comes to animation, unless your first name is Toy, last name Story, I really don't care about you.
The Incredibles is certainly worth another look for you, I would say. Cars, and again, the original Cars I think was actually pretty good. Cars 2, I wouldn't waste your time on it. But that's my opinion. All right, Ryan, here we go. Coming up, and you can't swing a dead cat nowadays, pardon my allegory here for cat lovers, without coming across some sort of promo for The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Second film coming out a little bit later on this year. Third one already announced, and did they already announce the fourth one?
I believe they have, and they also have plans for spin-offs with the villains and a potential Sinister Six and a Venom film potentially coming later on.
Okay, so let me ask this. One person has said, Ryan, that while they'll be there for the third one, they will not be there for the fourth one. Who is it, number 1? And number 2, does that mean trouble for this franchise?
When it comes to this new franchise, The Amazing Spider-Man, Mark Webb has directed the first 2 films. He is set to direct The Amazing Spider-Man 3, but after the third film, after that first trilogy is wrapped up in a nice bow, he's going to exit stage left. So he will not be directing Spider-Man 4, nor will he probably be back. So his time with the Sony Marvel Cinematic Universe is over after the trilogy is completed.
Does that spell trouble for you?
I don't think so. I think it's actually great news because it's Spider-Man. There's a million people who want to work with this great character of ours, so why not bring in some new talent, new blood, and let's see what they got.
Do we know anything about the star, Andrew Garfield? He coming back?
Well, right now he's locked in, I think, for the trilogy, but after Part 3, we're not sure if he's going to return for Part 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10, or a million.
Okay. The continuing story of the web slinger. And then there's the X-Men and the continued effort to spin off Hugh Jackman's character of Wolverine into a separate movie series. A couple of weeks ago, had the latest one hit Blu-ray DVD, which you could take home. David let me know that apparently there is another one on the way.
Mm-hmm. And I saw that, what is it, James Mangold, who directed The Wolverine, will be back to do the next one.
Does this give you hope?
Yeah, I liked The Wolverine a lot. I thought it was one of the better of the X-Men films.
Okay, this was X-Men Origins The Wolverine. No?
No.
This was the one from just last year.
Yes, the one where he goes to Japan.
Okay, because I have to admit, I have not seen X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Don't bother.
Okay.
I'll pretend that I never did.
All right, so I will leave that out of the canon and say, okay, I have some slight hope because I thought it was actually pretty good. I was left wanting a little bit, but overall it was a good movie.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't say it was great, but it was good.
Yeah, it actually took the character seriously. It wasn't campy or over the top. It was a good character piece, I thought.
Yeah. All right. Sticking with Marvel, Marvel still has creative control over, of course they do with all things, the Avengers, Guardians of the Galaxy coming, what's left. David got an interview with Kevin, his last name is pronounced Feige?
Kevin Feige.
Kevin Feige.
Feige. Yeah. He's been talking about another Captain. Apparently they're going to start digging into the Captain or the Marvel universe and start looking around. Obviously we have Captain America. We have 2 coming out in just a couple of weeks. We've got third one planned 2016 if I remember correctly, and now all of a sudden they're talking about Captain Marvel.
Yes.
And making a movie there. What do you know?
Kevin Feige, he hasn't really committed to anything yet. He's sort of expressed interest in possibly bringing that character to the screen because as you can tell, there's not a lot of strong female representation in most of the superhero movies. Especially to say standalones. You've got the Black Widow, but she's always been part of a team. They're going to bring Wonder Woman to the Superman Batman, so that's not going to be her spotlight.
Correct.
And I do believe the character of Carol Danvers, unless I'm mistaken, is introduced in The Winter Soldier. So, could they be laying the groundwork for Captain Marvel in the future? Maybe. We'll see.
Seems like it, doesn't it?
It does.
Captain Marvel, not necessarily one of the better-known characters, but it will be interesting to see where they go with it and go with there. And then we had, with Captain America 2 coming out, and I'm going to get to that real quick here. I just want to make sure that I have looked up what it is. Where did it go? Good.
It went somewhere.
Yeah, no kidding. No, that's not the one I'm looking for. That's not it either. That's not it either. Where did he put it? Good grief. Anyway, apparently some plots about a possible Captain America 3 have already started to come out. They're talking about, potential characters as far as, who he's going to be facing off against as his main nemesis. So hopefully maybe I'll find that here. And there it is. Okay. All right. Let's bring that story up while we talk about this. Reviews coming in when it comes to Captain America 2. And you said earlier, Jeff, that you had heard some good things.
Yes, absolutely.
Variety. Captain America the Winter Soldier trades the earlier film's apple pie Americana for the uneasy mood of the 1970s paranoia thriller, chock full of breathless cliffhangers dictated by the genre. In other words, they liked it. The Wrap also liked it very, very much. What I'm getting, though, out of the general scheme of things when it comes to the reviews of them coming soon, another website that gave it positive reviews, Total Film Screen Crush, the one thing that they say, it is unlikely that this film would be able to attract people who are outside of the superhero universe to come in and watch this film.
Oh, well.
So, in other words, they say it's not bringing anything new to the table. I mean, obviously, we're big into it because, we enjoyed the first one.
Well, apparently there's plenty of people who are already in the know, given what the amount of cash that the Avengers was printing.
Right.
So I don't think Marvel's too concerned about that. From what I know, and I've read some glowing reviews as well. Like I said, the one gentleman from HitFix, Drew McWhinney, that my tastes tend to line up with his. Like I told you earlier, he says it is the best action film Marvel has made in their cinematic universe to date.
Gotcha.
And that it's going to have long-term ramifications for the entire universe.
Because we know that they've been tying this all in very, very well as we, kind of interweave with the Avengers and out into the Iron Mans and Thors and so on and so forth.
Right. So. I mean, he even went so far as to say he doesn't see any way that the television show, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., can still be the same after this.
Okay.
So, very interesting to me.
Yeah. HeroFix.com has gone out there and said that there is the possibility that Captain America 3 might go back to the character of William Burnside. And if you are not very familiar with the Captain America universe, he's the man who posed as Captain America in the 1950s, while Steve Rogers himself was up and, encased in ice. So they're thinking that maybe he might be a part of Captain America 3. None of this obviously is confirmed yet as they continue to try and work out where they're going to go with Captain America past Captain America 2. And then you get Avengers. David kind of netted across with the TV series and the movies. Last Tuesday, ABC did not air a new episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Instead, they aired a special entitled Marvel Creating a Universe. Have the chance to see that?
I sure did. Yes, sir.
Ryan, did you see it?
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, obviously, they gave us the history, but then they went and they showed a little bit about the aforementioned Guardians of the Galaxy. They didn't really delve a whole lot into it. They had an interview with a couple of the guys who voiced characters. Vin Diesel was in there. They didn't really go very far into that
No,
one.
just showed very, very short, brief clips.
Kind of what we already saw from the teaser. They gave us also a little bit of next year's Avengers Age of Ultron.
Some cool concept art, yes, sir.
Yeah, nothing specific, nothing on film, just some concept art of what things might look like.
Yes.
Impressed?
I will tell you that I find their Quicksilver to be much better looking than the one coming up this summer in the X-Men.
All right. Ryan, what do you think?
Well, granted, it's too early to tell, but I've seen the concept art. Looks cool. Granted, I'm not familiar with Scarlet Witch or Quicksilver very much, but the Hulk going up against a Hulkbuster, yeah, I want to see that.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Which begs the question, since Ultron, which is an AI, is the big bad for this one, is it actually Tony controlling the Hulkbuster, or is it Ultron?
Ooh,
so you know.
You're going to throw out intrigue with more than a year to go before we get the chance to see it.
Just speculating.
I like it. Not really superheroes, but with the recent passing of Harold Ramis, it seems that now two of the characters we remember from Ghostbusters likely not going to be in it, but he did let me know that there is apparently a green light for a Ghostbusters 3. So the screen play is going to be set up. How do you replace? I mean, obviously they were going to go ahead and replace Bill Murray in some way, shape, or form. How can you replace not only Bill Murray but Harold Ramis's character, though?
You can't. You might as well just reboot it.
Not to mention, I also read, I think Jason Reitman said he's not directing it, so.
Oh, wow. Yeah, we're almost at a point where we have to reboot this thing then, don't we?
Right.
Let's see. Off of superheroes here. Of course, really, Ghostbusters weren't either. But Disney got a planned 2015 release of Star Wars Episode 7. Sometimes get a little bit of a detail. Sometimes get a little bit of a release of some information. They keep coming out with little bits of stuff. They've told us that this one is going to be set some 30 years past what we remember from the events in Return of the Jedi. The only thing that they've confirmed as far as characters so far is R2-D2. They haven't even confirmed C-3PO yet. Just R2-D2.
Yeah, but we know he's going to be there, though.
Well, one would figure if you got R2-D2, you almost have to have C-3PO, don't you?
Yeah, you can't have one without the other, right?
And, of course, we still have the main speculation of will Han Solo, Luke Skywalker, and Leia make their appearance. Carrie Fisher, Mark Hamill, and Harrison Ford have all kind of said, yeah, we're in, but there's been no official word.
There will be.
Yeah, I'm kind of cool with it. I don't care to know everything about it before it comes out.
And we're still, a year and a half away because this is holiday season 2015, right?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
But then again, it is Disney owns Lucasfilm now, so we will know everything about it before it comes out.
Yeah, probably right. Ryan came across a preview for a movie by the name of Sin City, A Dame to Kill For. I actually checked it out. First of all, what do we know about this film, and when is it coming out in theaters?
Yes, sir. This is a actual prequel to the first Sin City. It's from Robert Rodriguez as well as Frank Miller himself. You got Bruce Willis, Rosario Dawson, Jamie King, Josh Brolin, Jessica Alba. We love you. Mickey Rourke, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Eva Green. The list goes on and on and on. The greatness of this film is going to be released in theaters everywhere on August the 22nd. Mark your calendars because I will be there.
I saw the preview of it and got to admit, I kind of like the first one. I wasn't a humongous fan of it, but I kind of like the first one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm liking the looks of the second one. You, Jeff?
Oh, absolutely. It looks like he's really refined that whole black and white look to it. The first one, was really, in my opinion, one of the more successful translations from comic to screen because the comic itself was black and white. And I like the way he played with it and the sparing use of color. This one looks like he's sort of refined that a little bit more. So it actually looks a little better, and this is actually a really, really good story, too. You've got a lot of the, characters like Ryan just said, it's sort of a prequel because Marv, that Mickey Rourke played in the first one, his story ends with him dying in an electric chair. Since this was said earlier, he gets to, he and a few of the other characters that were in the first film actually get to interact this time.
Gotcha. All right. Apparently, there is a film version of the video game Splinter Cell being planned. Tom Hardy's going to be in the lead role. That's what we do know there. We've also found out that the director is going to be Doug Liman, who did The Bourne Legacy.
Or Bourne Identity, actually.
Yeah, the first, and he's got the new Tom Cruise sci-fi movie coming out this summer.
There you go. Thank you.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, thank you for the correction. Not overly familiar with the video game Splinter Cell. Is this something to look forward to?
I don't know. I mean, I've played the video game once or twice, but I don't think it's made for movie purposes, really.
I think I tried to play one of the, isn't it Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell? So it's
yeah, it is.
Familiar territory for Lyman, apparently.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's one of those video games. I tried to play the first one, and I spent half an hour in this single courtyard and kept getting hurt. It's one of those video games where if you're not actually quiet and they hear you, they will kill you.
Gotcha.
Okay. Dang it! That's all I know.
All right. Well, being a Tom Clancy kind of thing, I will probably check it out because I am a big Clancy fan. But I don't know. I don't remember the video game well enough, obviously, and I'm not big on first-person shooters.
I think it's just going to be an espionage/military type thing.
Okay. One more thing here, and we'll start to make our transition to television here in our next segment. Horror fans who enjoyed the Grudge films. I kind of remember the Grudge films.
Yeah, I remember them. Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Yeah, I thought the first one was pretty decent.
All right. Well, then this could be good or bad news. Apparently, they're thinking about rebooting the franchise.
Terrible idea.
Yeah, agree or disagree over there, Mr. Jeff?
I got to be honest. I'm indifferent to it. We've got the one that was good. The original one from Japan was very creepy.
Yeah.
So I never saw the second or however many other Grudges they made either. So
Gotcha. Okay. I think I've only seen the first one, so I'm not really worried about it. And it wasn't that long ago that we got the last one, wasn't it?
I believe it was. They made 3 films. 2 of them were in theaters. The second one had Sarah Michelle Gellar and, oh my gosh, what was the girl from Joan of Arcadia? I forget her name. And then the third one was direct-to-video, which I had not seen. So I've only seen the first 2 films in this whole thing.
The third one goes straight to video. That can't be a good sign necessarily for this series. So, yeah, apparently they need to reboot it, but I guess we'll figure out whether they actually do or not and make it any kind of a success. When we come back, we will wrap up movies by transitioning, kind of a crossover, movies into television. And we'll talk about Blu-ray and a whole lot of television news, including some reviews. That's next on the Entertainment Roundtable.
They do all their own stunts. The Entertainment Roundtable on Superstation 101.
Well, we've already mentioned them once, and we're going to mention them again here in just a minute, so I figured it very appropriate to come back to the sound of the theme song to the ABC show Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Another 80s TV show apparently getting ready to head to the big screen, this time revolving around cartoons. Like the Smurfs recently was done into kind of a live-action CGI sort of mashup there. Now apparently they're coming back with the quasi-pop group Gem and the Holograms. I don't remember this.
Man, that's totally outrageous.
So you remember the cartoon?
That was worse to her theme song.
Really?
Yeah, she's outrageous. You remember Gem? Okay. I never watched it. But I
vaguely remember advertisements for it, but I don't remember any of the plot. I guess it's surrounded around.
She had the pink hair and the star around her eye.
Yeah, I'm looking at the picture here, and big, 6-pointed stars for earrings, and really a whole lot of pink makeup.
Yeah.
And apparently some humongous bow on her head?
Probably.
You want to talk about 80s hair? Okay, hang on just a second. Let's see if I can pull this picture up and put it in a bigger form so that Jeff can take a look at it.
Oh, I know Jim, buddy.
Oh gosh, this was pure 80s hair. I mean, it's big.
I was brokenhearted. I forget one day when I came home and something was supposed to be on at a certain time, and it was Jim instead. And it's like, what?
That's no good for
nobody wants to watch a girl cartoon.
Yeah. All right. Here's the picture that they're showing.
Oh yeah. She's outrageous, Steve, I'm telling you.
Yeah, that's something. I don't know about outrageous, but that's a lot of hair right there.
It is.
Even in a cartoon form. Don't know as this is going to gain a whole major audience. I think there were some people that probably remember the cartoon fondly, but I don't know who they are.
I don't have,
no. Several films coming out this week, specifically on Tuesday. We're going to leave it up to you as to what is actually worthy of taking home, potentially. The Vince Vaughn film Delivery Man, which did not go anywhere. A straight-to-video cartoon movie called Monster High Frights Camera Action, whatever. Odd Thomas, I remember that being kind of an art house flick that was a critical darling, but it just never made much box office.
Oh, that's on video this week? That's based on a Dean Koontz book.
Oh.
It's actually a good book, and I've heard the movie was pretty good. I believe it was, gosh, it wasn't Steven. Was it Stephen Summers that I believe directed this?
That sounds familiar.
May have been.
Yeah. Another straight-to-video cartoon, Scooby-Doo WrestleMania Mystery. Obviously, the WWF, or E now, I think it is, got in on that. Walking with Dinosaurs, this was the film that I think was, I might be thinking of the wrong one, but this was the one that I think was narrated by Tim Allen.
Oh, I thought maybe it was what? Christopher Walken sent back in time. Walking with dinosaurs.
With dinosaurs.
What's up, T-Rex?
Yeah. And the Leonardo DiCaprio film The Wolf of Wall Street comes out on Tuesday as well. If you're looking to add to your TV collection for the second week in a row, you are out of luck. There's nothing of note. Ryan, let's go to TV news here, and let's start with a couple of reviews on the CW Network. We'll start with them. We never start with the CW Network, so I'm going to give them a little love. We'll start off with them
Look
this
at
time.
you.
How about telling me a little bit about the show The 100?
Yes, sir. The 100, as they're calling it, is based in the future. After the world was devastated by a nuclear attack, people were living up in space stations orbiting the Earth. 97 years later, they send 100 juvenile delinquents, those who have been in jail, juvie jail, down to Earth to see if it's still inhabitable, to find out if everything's okay, and to get supplies because the Ark, which is the name of the ship that they're crashing on, is about to run out of air as well as supplies. So they are in deep, 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 deep trouble. But with these teenagers being sent down to Earth, they found out that they are not alone, and it's not necessarily their world anymore. So the mysteries, the intrigue, the awesomeness ensues. And I got to tell you something, boys. The CW has done something right with a post-apocalyptic show of this kind. So I'm going to give it 3 stars out of a possible 4. New episodes are every Wednesday night at 9, 8 Central, immediately following Arrow.
Okay.
Huh.
Might have to check it out.
I DVR'd this after Arrow Wednesday. I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, I have to admit, totally forgot.
I didn't realize that it was a group of... So these are like juvenile delinquents who have been nothing but trouble. So they send them down to Earth.
Because Maz needs air.
And depend on them for supply. Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna throw you down there as guinea pigs and see if the nuclear radiation has eased.
I think I figured out the first flaw in your plan,
Jack.
satellite people.
Yeah, they couldn't care less about you.
Anyway, I'm going to give it a shot. I'll give it its fair shake. I'm just messing.
I look forward to seeing what your review is going to be. Let's go over to NBC. They have debuted a show called Crisis. What's your thoughts there?
Yes, sir. Crisis airs every Sunday night, 10, 9 Central. It stars Rachel Taylor of Transformers. Gosh, she's gorgeous. And Agent Scully is back, guys. Scully is back. Gillian Anderson is also one of the female leads in this show. It's about some of the richest and most prominent kids in the world, whose parents are big-name fish, such as the president, CEOs, big-name companies, things like that. These kids are kidnapped by a group of people who are trying to dismantle every single thing in America with the FBI, CIA, all their defenses are out of it. So they're trying to figure out who is really in control of this whole operation and trying to save the kids at the same time. And I got to tell you, this one is kind of intriguing as well. I'd probably give it 2.5 stars out of a possible 4.
Huh. This one is on Sunday nights. What did it take the place of?
The Voice reruns, I think.
That's not a bad thing.
No, it's not.
And I'll just throw this out here, my friend. If you've been watching Hannibal, you would have known Scully's been back for a while. She's been on that show.
Oh, has she?
Oh, yeah. She plays Hannibal's therapist.
There you go. So she's got double duty going on then.
Not anymore.
No? She's... Oh.
It's not what you think.
We're not doing spoiler alert. And then over to ABC, they have recently debuted a new show. It is called Resurrection. Is it worth resurrecting?
Funny you should say that. Resurrection is about a group of loved ones who all of a sudden come back to life as they were when they passed away. They haven't aged a day. They're not sure how they came back. They're not sure where they came from and all this other stuff. They're in Acadia, a small town, and it stars Omar Epps from House as well as Kurtwood Smith, Francis Fisher. The big names here, boys. And I got to say, this one is very, 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 very intriguing. I give this one also 3 stars out of 4. It's on Sunday nights at 9, 8 Central on ABC.
So we got 3 new shows, and you like them all? You're going to stick with them for a while.
Oh, yes, especially the 100, because with the 100, you got Paige Turco from Person of Interest, Desmond, a.k.a. Henry Ian Cusick from Lost, and Isaiah Washington.
Good cast. Easy for me to say. All right. Well, let's stick with the CW network here. Their hit Arrow. David, let me know about this. We've seen already the debut of the character that will become the Flash. He got his own show earlier. Apparently, they're set to introduce us to a couple of more characters that are going to be showing up in that show a little bit later on, so that's pretty cool. So what they're doing is they're really using Arrow to its fullest extent to set the Flash up as much as they can, and they just want to hit the ground running with Flash when it debuts in the fall.
And I'll tell you, CW's being very smart. This week's episode had to do with a team called the Suicide Squad, which is basically
Don't give it all away.
I'm not going to. Some of Arrow's villains who that they send on this special mission. Well, there's a blink and you miss it cameo.
Oh, is there?
In the first third of the episode that lets you know that apparently Batman exists in this universe.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, boy, does
So
it ever.
now all of a sudden we got DC coming in there and saying, we're going to take a page out of Marvel and we're going to try and tie some stuff together here then.
Then again, it may have been a little throwaway, just an Easter egg cute thing for the fans. But at the same time, I mean,
get the funny feeling they're going somewhere with that.
We'll see.
Yeah, I get the funny feeling they're going to go somewhere with that. Okay, so yeah, we started off with CW Network. What do you know? Every once in a while, we'll do that. Over to ABC. David, let me know about the show Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. They have a cast member that's being added. According to the report, the character in the show will be a friend of Nick Fury. Of course, the character played by Samuel L. Jackson. Patton Oswalt
I saw that.
is coming in, which seems like an odd casting choice. Not that he's not a good actor. It's just that when you look at him, you don't think automatically, action kind of guy.
Right, maybe he'd be more along the intellectual lines. But he's actually, he can play dramatic very well.
Yeah.
He was very good in the Young Adult with Charlize Theron.
So be looking for him. He should be within the next couple of weeks here as they continue to go down the road. And I'm liking this new road that S.H.I.E.L.D. is going down. It's actually starting to intrigue me a little bit more. They've hit upon something that looks much more like I think the show that we were thinking it was going to be. Okay, I'm interested. Ryan, over to you and my favorite show, 24. You had the chance to talk to somebody. Obviously, we talked about that a little bit earlier. Now let's talk about the new promo. We saw, 3-4 promos that were debuted during the Super Bowl, and they just keep kind of giving us a little bit of taste. This latest promo that they came out with, did you learn anything new about it?
Well, other than, some of the big-name stars that they've added to the, casting list, such as Yvonne Strahovski, Chuck, Benjamin Bratt, Law & Order, and other veterans such as Tate Donovan from Damages. I mean, I like the 30-second promo, but, dude, Fox, do me a favor. Give me a 2-minute trailer, man.
Well, there you go.
I want 2 minutes. I want a full-length trailer. Quit giving us 30-second clips.
Or do what they did with Captain America. Give us, the first... You don't have to give us the first 10 minutes. You don't even have to give us the first segment. Give us the first 5 minutes of the first episode. We know it's in the can. We just talked, as you mentioned a little bit earlier, to the actor who played Aaron Pierce. He knows a little bit about it. The first 7 episodes are in the can. Just 5 minutes. I'm jonesing. I've got more than a month to wait. It's May 5th.
I know, man. Look at these magical dates we have here. 4/4/14 for Captain America, and then we got 5/5/14. What does that tell you?
It means that I'm spending a lot of time in front of movie screens and television screens. Over to NBC, we announced recently that some 20 renewals came across CBS over the past couple of weeks. NBC seems to be stabilizing. This has been, the last couple of years, they've been the dregs of the television universe when it came to the networks. They were even kind of battling with the CW to try and figure out who was going to be fifth. Well, apparently they've got a couple of shows that have gotten their interest and they want to keep them around. Chicago Fire and its sister show, Chicago PD, have been renewed. And the television show Grimm has been renewed as well. That was according to our faithful listener, Daniel. I know that you're happy about Grimm. Ryan, Dick Wolf apparently has some stock in NBC because they just keep renewing his shows.
Yeah, that's true. But here's the thing, though. Chicago Fire, Chicago PD, and honestly, Grimm, because I got off the wagon after the first season because I just have too many TV commitments as it is, boys.
Yeah.
These 3 shows, IDC. I really don't care about those 3. What I care about is Parenthood, SVU coming back, Jack, because if you don't have those 2 shows, we got a very serious problem.
Speaking of a Dick Wolf show, SVU. TNT, Ryan, is about to debut the new season of Falling Skies. You mentioned just a moment ago you wanted a preview from 24. You got a preview of a show that they're about ready to debut, Falling Skies. What did you find out? Anything new?
Yes, there is no escape from what's coming next is kind of the tagline they threw in there for good measure. The aliens are getting stronger and stronger. Apparently, the second mass has been spread out all over the world and the country, and they're trying to reunite and find each other. and get the team back together because the new season is going to premiere on Sunday night, June the 22nd at 10/9 Central on TNT. And, boys, I cannot wait for some skies to fall.
It is a good show. I like it, I have to admit. Anybody, I think you've mentioned Game of Thrones as being a show that you like. Am I wrong on that,
I love
Jeff?
it.
Okay.
Love it.
If this transitions to movie theaters, happy guy?
Game of Thrones?
Yeah.
I saw where George R.R. Martin said he would like to see that, but let's just... I don't know. I think HBO would be dumb to do that.
Okay, well...
I mean, it's a big old cash cow.
It is. The website hitfix.com says this. The showrunners of Game of Thrones said that they know how George R.R. Martin's fantasy epic ends and when they'd like to wrap it up on the hit HBO adaptation, but they have never indicated where. As it turns out, the big screen has been discussed. The Hollywood Reporter says this. It all depends on how long the main series runs, said the author. Do we run for 7 years? Do we run for 8? Or do we run for 10? The books get bigger and bigger in scope. We might need a feature to tie things up. So they've got a ways to go still.
Yeah, I mean, if that's the only way to do it, with a big budget on the big screen, I mean, I'd be there.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
All right, so you're in either way.
Yeah.
Well, Ryan, if we have any questions, comments, suggestions, or just want to get in touch with you and say hi, how can we do it?
Go to Facebook.com/TheRPM Show, or you can find me on Facebook at Ryan Matthews. We'd love to hear from you.
Very cool. We'll talk to you 1 week from today. Planning on going to see anything this weekend? Muppets Most Wanted?
I am going to try, but I can't make any guarantees.
Okay. Divergent not necessarily on your screen, though.
No, it actually is.
Is it? Okay. All right. Very good. Well, we appreciate it. We'll talk to you 1 week from today. Jeff, thank you very much for coming in and being such a major part of the show today.
You got it, my friend.
Filling in for an under-the-weather David. Josh, hopefully, will be back soon as well. In the meantime, enjoy your weekend.